Whew. Whew, whew. What a day it has been, my friends. It is officially the night before free agency. Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Anthony Corona, here on Speaking of the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And wow, it's been an exciting nonstop day. Nonstop day indeed. Devils had development camp earlier today. I was there. Took some footage for you folks. Check out the video on the channel. See some of the young potential Devils of the future. Exciting event at the practice rink of the New Jersey Devils. Free agency tomorrow. Lots of hopes, lots of dreams. A lot of you guys enjoy throwing all kinds of names out there. Some of them somewhat realistic. Some of them are just completely preposterous. Well, I got to caffeinate properly, guys. It's been a long day. But before we get into all that, I just want to rewind a little bit. Let me rewind a little bit. In the last week or so, as a recap, Sunny Mehta trades Shimo Nemitz for picks and then drafts at number 12 overall. Some of you lunatics immediately riot. You guys immediately riot, bloodthirsty. And look, I'll be honest. I personally expected one or both of those assets, being Shimo Nemitz and the 12th overall pick. I fully expected one or both of them to be traded for a win now piece. I really did. But it didn't happen, and you guys came for blood. And listen, I get the frustration. I get the pain. I really do, especially for you old-timers, especially for the longtime fans. A once proud franchise has fallen so far. Years of pain and suffering. God bless Lou Lamoriello for the glory days. But Sunny did not hurt you guys. Sunny did not hurt you. You have pain. You have scars. But Sunny didn't do it. Got to have some patience. And when everyone was talking all their nonsense, I immediately told you guys, at the time, I think it was June 27th. I said, it's June 27th. He has a whole offseason ahead of him. Be patient. There will be moves made. He has a plan. He has a plan. And I will say quickly on a side note, before he got hired, I guess when his name was floating around and when he first got hired, I was on the fence about him. I was on the fence about Sunny Mehta, but was cautiously optimistic. Truth be told, he was not my first choice for the general manager position, but he was on my short list. I personally wanted a former player with executive experience. That's just kind of where my head was at. And I'm definitely not the biggest fan of analytics. I know some of the people out there would be like, oh, he hates analytics. It's not that I hate analytics. I just hate when people treat analytics as gospel and there's nothing else to consider. These are the analytics. There's nothing else to consider. That's my problem with analytics. But I certainly think they have their use for sure when evaluating players. I don't hate them, but I still do value some other things that may get overlooked by some of these types of people. You know, the eye test, all the intangibles, whether you're talking about heart, locker room presence, balls, leadership, all the things that you won't necessarily find a graph or chart for. And a lot of people don't value any of that stuff. I certainly do. And I was a little nervous that Sunny may be too analytically driven. That was just kind of a concern I had in my head in terms of being a fit. But back to you, loons. Back to you, loons. You lunatics riot days before free agency opens. Free agency was not even open yet. And the same people, oh, it's Fitz 2.0, and it's the same thing over and over, and they're running it back, and I've seen this before. Nonstop nonsense. Don't give the guy 10 minutes to do anything. Just immediately start talking smack. And then comes today, June 30th, the day before free agency. Have yourself a day. Sunny Mehta trades Jacob Markstrom to, the deal is bigger, but essentially Jacob Markstrom to Florida for Evan Rodrigues and Jesper Boqvist, having to continually clean up more of the mess left behind by his predecessor, Tom Fitzgerald, gets the Markstrom contract out of here with no retention, upgrades the bottom six, and frees up roughly $1.4 million in cap space in one shot. Bang! This is Sunny Mehta magic, friends. To do all of those things with one little Just one deal. Now, in terms of Rodrigues, it's very interesting. Obviously, Sunny is very familiar. It's possible that no one on planet Earth knows more about Rodrigues and maybe some of the other Florida Panthers players than Sunny Mehta. Being that he was there for so long, is an analytics guy, he probably has all kinds of intel on Rodrigues, which makes me think it's an even better fit for him to go out and make that move. But we'll see. But that's another mess cleaned up by Sunny Mehta. And also shout out to Jacob Markstrom. I know people have been super down on him, and I get it. But shout out to Jacob Markstrom for his contributions here. He had a bad season last year, but the guy's all heart. He gave a few years of his life to this organization. There's not many guys in the league with more heart than Jacob Markstrom, and this will forever be my lasting memory of Jacob Markstrom. This will forever be my lasting memory of Jacob Markstrom. Just had enough, fed up, frustrated with everything. It just spills over. He skates down the whole ice, fights Shesterkin. Wasn't the greatest fight, but the effort was there. And the first goalie fight for the New Jersey Devils since December 9th, 1995. One fateful Saturday afternoon when Corey Schwab pounded Tommy Soderstrom of the New York Islanders. If you're not familiar, some of you people weren't even born yet, but put in Schwab, S-C-H-W-A-B, Soderstrom, S-O-D-E-R-S-T-R-O-M. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee. Schwab Soderstrom, put that in the YouTube, and you will see one of the greatest regular season Devils moments of all time. But that'll be my forever memory of Marky. Intense dude, fiery competitor. Here we got another shot of that brawl. And I will say, quickly, you guys know I'm a museum curator. This is actually the jersey that Jacob Markstrom was wearing when he fought Shesterkin. Take a good look at you see this big mark right here? Remember that mark in your head, because I'm about to show you something. You see the mark? Lower right of the crest, you see that huge mark, and then the two little marks above it. So real quickly, because some people in the past have asked me about this, like, oh, how do you know it's the exact jersey? In the industry, we call this a photo match. If you look at it's hard to see on here, but if you look right under the crest is the big mark and then the two corresponding marks to the right of it. But this is a photo match. If you had this photo and you zoomed in, you would see the marks I just pointed out to you match up exactly with the marks on the photo. But what a moment. Had to get something for the museum. That's an iconic Devils moment, even though it was a bad season. So the Markey trade gets the Markey trade done. People thought it would be impossible. People definitely thought it'd be impossible without retention. He gets that done. And then a couple hours later, they announce that Sunny Mehta has signed Arseny Gritsyuk to a 3-year deal at $3.25 million. 3 years, $3.25 million for Arseny Gritsyuk. And that's a pretty nice deal. Slightly above AFP Analytics 2-year projection. They had him at like 3.02 or something. But to get that extra year on there, I think a lot of people were anticipating it to be a little more hefty of a price tag. Sunny gets that deal out of the way. And what an afternoon for Sunny Mehta and the New Jersey Devils, honestly. Now, there is still plenty of work to do. Plenty of work to do. The summertime renovation of this team should not end now. It should be far from over. No one's crowning Sunny yet. He definitely shouldn't be crowned. No one's planning a parade, but he is carrying out his vision methodically. Surgically, I may say. Sunny the surgeon, calculated, measured, and precise. And I think the writing is on the wall for some other things to happen I guess it's late now. It could happen, but I'd imagine tomorrow we may see some more fireworks in terms of, potential trades, signings. A lot of people are expecting something on the defense. We'll see. Obviously, the Hellebuyck rumors, and I'll get to that all separately in a little bit. But for anyone who's still doubting Sunny Mehta, come see the light. Because the truth is, he told you what he was going to do. He told you, and he is doing exactly that. Let's go back to his introductory press conference when I asked him this question.
Anthony Corona running with the Devils. When you look at this team today, Sunny, do you believe they are going to be in a position to contend for a cup in the short-term future, or do you see it more as a longer-term thing?
Both. That's my honest answer. Like that's how I have to approach this. I absolutely think we have pieces. We have the framework to win right away. But I also very much care about the long term. My goal is to instill a process that's repeatable over and over and over again, so that the success is sustained. So to me, it's not one or the other. It's absolutely both.
That was at his introductory press conference. In that very moment, I thought he gave an excellent answer, and I believed him. And if that whole press conference as a whole did not immediately make you aware that Sunny Mehta is a very different individual than Tom Fitzgerald, the whole press conference was a breath of fresh air for most people, and it was a press conference, in my opinion, and many others, did instill knowledge and confidence into the people watching it. I thought it was a great press conference. And when he gave that answer, I thought it was a good one. I totally bought in that he had a vision and his system and everything he was talking about. He said he wanted to win now and he wanted to win later. So if we look at the last week or so, trading Shimo Nemitz for picks and then drafting with the number 12 overall, and he did acquire 2 extra draft picks on day 2. Those are filed under the win later category. Those are win later moves, looking out for the future of the franchise and trying to replenish an extremely shallow prospect pool. Those are win later moves. And everyone was like, well, we want to win now. And I totally believe the Devils should be in win now mode. You guys know that I think that. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Given the age of the core. And like I said, from the introductory press conference on, Sunny seems like an extremely bright individual. So as a bright individual, do you not think that he is painfully aware of all of the details surrounding the core of the New Jersey Devils and kind of where they're at? He's completely aware. He is completely aware. But everyone, we want this guy, and everyone's naming superstars and crazy guys that probably will never come here. Unrealistic moves. But he starts off with some win later moves. Then comes today, and we see the Markstrom deal to Florida for roster players. Win now move. Improving the team today and trying to push them along. Today was a win now move. And in terms of the Grits contract, I guess you could, that's more of a win now move than a win later, but I guess depending on your definition of later, it could be both. But he told you the playbook. He said it in the clip. He said he wants to instill a process that is repeatable over and over and over again, and he is well on his way to doing that, so it seems. And what exactly is that process? At like a high level, it would be, a combination of moving on from underperforming players relative to their contracts and then bringing in guys that he thinks are underpaid relative to their contracts, finding value and getting rid of bad investment contracts, finding ways to create value. How do you create value? Trading back in the draft a couple spots and picking up an extra pick, creating value. So he is showing you the process. And he plans on repeating it over and over and over again for the success to be sustained. And so when just sitting back after I got off the first live, just thinking about all this, Sunny told you what he was going to do, and he's doing it. He's doing exactly what he said. He is trying to win now and win later. It is a very difficult balancing act, and he's going to do his best going forward doing it. But with all of that being said, hopefully some more people deposit their apologies in the chat. Anyone who was coming up with Sunny slander, feel free to apologize. Deposit those apologies in the chat. You may be forgiven. Sunny. But so far, have some patience, folks. This is only free agency still didn't open. Tomorrow afternoon it begins. Will the Devils be active? Will they not be? Are they still trying to shop guys? Do we see some more trades coming? Back to the Hellebuyck thing. People were getting all kind of, fired up and razzed up about nonsense accounts that were posting. I guess in the end they could be true, but we're going to call them false rumors. Just complete nonsense accounts that people have not realized have no credibility. But there was a lot of Hellebuyck noise going around, and then people were like empty netters. But I think empty netters was just kind of feeding into the frenzy. I don't think they were really. I don't know, but have some patience. Still a long off season ahead, but so far, this guy seems to be on the ball. Very crafty moves he did today. Told you months ago that he was trying to win now and later, and so far his actions mirror exactly that. And now we get to the comments, and I'm a bit frightened. Let me take another sip of my energy drink here. The comments have been quite interesting. Oh shit. Cheers to all you guys. My Monster Energy drink keeping me alive. This has been one of the longer hockey days for me in a long time. Slaying Ice. I wonder if we sign a top 6 winger tomorrow. It's possible. A trade is also possible. I would say there's not a ton of exciting top 6 wingers in free agency, but there certainly are top 6 wingers on other teams, and deals could certainly be made. Crazy Alex says big day coming up. Legend Killer 97. It's always a good day to talk Devils hockey, no matter the time of year, and that's why we do it all year long. That is why we do it all year long. Michael S. says Hillstrom had a scoring touch today. I think he scored half a dozen or more. Did he? Crads. Enjoyed the names you put out there. Some seem more doable tonight than they did yesterday. Well, I think that's one of the other things that have caused some people to back up off the ledge for the extremists that were going nuts, several days before free agency opened, have kind of walked back their stance a little bit, because now with those moves, I think, I guess they just have more faith in Sunny to get deals done. I had never doubted him. I think most logical people kind of took the approach of I'm gonna trust him or believe in him or whatever until he gives me a reason not to. And for some people, the reason not to was the Nemo and drafting at 12th overall, which I think is crazy, given that we still had all the time in the world before the season. But there's a ton of guys out there. We'll see. Is it going to be a free agent pickup or two? Will there be more trades? But after a day like today, I think people start to see the possibilities and start to think to themselves like, okay, maybe some of these things are not so far-fetched. Some of them are completely ridiculous. Some of the things you guys put out there are just beyond absurd, but there's plenty of realistic things too. Bobby, thank you for the super. You got a new camera, new job paying well. I have a really good feeling about tomorrow, which is weird considering the past 5 years have been a total letdown. Fingers crossed for either Robo or Helly. 2 big names that tons of people want, obviously. Robertson, those are Robertson being the best forward who's been rumored to be dealt, and Hellebuyck clearly being the best goalie rumored to be dealt. Could the Devils be in on either one of them? The Robertson one just always seemed completely crazy to me, just because of the money. I mean, if he wants 14 or 15 million bucks, and that's not even getting into the assets it would take to get him. And 2 of our more valuable assets have been used up, Nemo and that 12th pick. But who knows? Robertson just seems super pipe dreamy. Hellebuyck seems a little more realistic, but that one seems like a very big stretch to me as well. Jay Snow says, I think we sign another forward at least tomorrow. I would think signed or traded for. I could still see some trades potentially coming. Thirst for War says, I don't know what's coming, but I'm excited for the first time in a while. And that's what a Jacob Markstrom level type trade can do for people. Faith has been restored to many, but the smart ones were giving Sunny some time. There's plenty of off seasons still, but a lot of people jumped the gun. Snow says, I don't know if it's going to be a big name. I would say it probably won't be, but I think it could be a player that could help. I don't think Sunny's going to go out there and make moves just for the sake of doing it. BMP, hope tomorrow will be an interesting and productive day. All right, I got to skip ahead here. Stickfig says the future is indeed actually bright. What's going on, Justin? Crazy Alex, the trash talk was going to happen regardless of who became GM, I suppose. Peyton Bratton, I wish we could have gotten AJ Greer. I know he was another wish list guy for a lot of people, but who knows? Sunny obviously knows him well too. You never know. I got to skip down here. Jay Snow, I like Nason for his size and sandpaper, but that injury looked like it might be the end for him. Yeah, hopefully he recovers and could be remotely close to what he was. A couple years ago as the net front guy in the power play, he was killing it. Nason down low was a doggy dog, but I don't know. He had that surgery, then he got injured again. Like, yeah, it could be one of those things where he never looks like that guy again. But obviously you hope for good health for everybody. Michael S., I think part of the problem fans have right now is they feel battered. It isn't Sunny per se, but rather, will Sunny be able to do anything with these owners and the team up against the cap? I think he's already shown just today alone that he's able to make somewhat complicated deals. You know, Markey had trade protection. Who knows if Florida was on his list or if they had to ask him to waive or whatever. I'm sure they were in communication with him well before the deal was made. But to find a partner to not only get rid of Markstrom, but bring back players that could help the team and save money in the process. It's an A+. It's an A+ maneuver. Stickfix says, I'm trying to push out the memory of the Islanders game and the Rangers fight so that Seattle game with those 3 monster saves could be my lasting memory of Markstrom. Yeah, those were some crazy saves. He basically had like 3 save of the year candidate saves in that same game. One was the diving glove. Then I think there was one on his back where he got the stick up. Strong outing in Seattle. Magda says, I feel like we are a large market team now with all this info you provide daily, sometimes twice a day. Thank you, Ace. I don't know about that. Large market team, different animal entirely. But there is a loyal New Jersey Devils fan base. There really is. The only professional team in New Jersey. Wish they got a little more love on the state level. But definitely a passionate fan base and a fan base that has been somewhat abused, I would say, for some time. Paulie Z95, the Schwab Soderstrom fight reference. What a throwback. What an unbelievable clip of Devils history that it is. Yeah, it was battle damage. Yeah, it was a piece that had to go to the museum. That's a museum quality piece. So I have a jacket. I think I have one of those too. Crads, you take it off of him as he's sleeping, of course. Oh, no. Aiden Hill. I feel like it's a gamble. Dire Wolf, how do you feel about Zuccarello? I feel like that could be a good value add for the top 6. Again, everything is dependent on the price, but I think there's a ton of guys in free agency that could fill in nicely, fit in somewhere in the lineup for the Devils, and provide offensive production. But it all just depends on the price, but there's no shortage of guys. People keep throwing out names, and I even said in my free agent video, if you haven't seen that, check that out at some point. I put out 5 guys that I thought were intriguing for one reason or another that the Devils could potentially target in free agency. And, and I even said in the video, this is just 5 that kind of came to mind, and there's definitely tons more, but someone threw out earlier in the last live, Anders Lee. I mean, yeah, Anders Lee at the right price. Who wouldn't want a guy like that too? But now it gets a little stickier because it does seem like the Devils are pretty much set. Well, I guess it depends on how much he's looking for. Anyone at the right price is worth looking into, which is why some of the guys on the list I put out were on the list, because I think they could be value. Robbie's bench toss says Nason, Bukestad, Dylan on the chopping block for cap potentially. There could be other guys too. There is still potential for a lot of change to this roster before opening night. R Roma 3 says, didn't Fitz say the same thing? Didn't Fitz say the same thing about what? R Roma, all I have to say is, and I'm not trying to slander a man who has since been relieved of his duties, but if you watched the Sunny Mehta introductory press conference and watched any single press conference from Fitz's life, they are night and day. They are night and day. That is all I'm going to say. If you watch both of them, there is no confusion. It is crystal clear. Robbie's bench toss. Van Hanen looked great in the camp clip you posted earlier, by the way. I can see why they were pumped to snap him at pick 37. Yeah, I put out a longer video. The camp video went up a few hours ago. I don't know when, but I'm delirious. But at some point this afternoon, there is a long development camp video, and you will see plenty of him in the video. And to me, he was the best player on the ice for sure. Could be a good one. Ryan Respects has sustained, baby. No more consistently inconsistent garbage. I do think Sunny's going to bring that standard of excellence. Complacency, country club will no longer be. Everyone is being evaluated constantly. Michael S., I think Fitz wanted to win, but I feel the owners wouldn't allow the use of Hamilton's LTIR money. We will see what happens when Sunny runs afoul of the owners in their pocketbook. So that is something we've definitely talked about going back to when that happened. I would be super curious to know if he was not allowed or if he was just gun shy to do it, because at this point, I know it is like the popular thing to blame the owners, and that very well could be the case, but it's just as likely that just Fitz had no ideas or anything to use the money on. That is potentially on the table as well, I think. Sook, we will see the Devils make trades tomorrow, if only to simply clear up some unwanted cap. They have some dead weight to shed. Jay Snow says, I'd add a Tarasenko on a 1 year. He was on my list. A lot of people were like, no way. But again, these are not like guys you're committing tons of money and tons of years to. These are guys that are going to maybe get a couple year deals. Some of them probably 1 year deals. And it can be worth a gamble for a year to see what they could do. Andrew Lucas says he already apologized. Okay, well, I wasn't talking to you, Andrew. If you deposited your apologies, then you're in the good standing of the community, and we're still waiting on delinquent apology deposits from the people that haven't done so yet. Matty Ice says people from Jersey don't know patience. You actually put patience as in like I'm not trying to be the grammar police here, but just in case you're a kid and you have to write a paper, or you're an adult and have to write an email. I didn't mean to insult you. I hope you didn't take it that way. But you put patience like hospital patients. Patience in the realm of what we're talking about, like this person lacks patience and had a meltdown about Sunny Mehta after he was on the job for 5 minutes. That would be Patience. This is the doctor hospital variety. IENTS. Oh, someone wrote that in. That's so funny. Someone wrote that in the chat a couple lines down. Stick Figs, day off tomorrow. I'm ready to go to my local cafe, get a coffee, maybe some breakfast, and refreshing Twitter all morning. Refreshing Twitter like that is definitely a sport. No, there was no chicken tenders at the development camp. Aroma, today was an okay day, but we added Rodrigues and Boqvist, not Prime, Crosby, and Malkin. You need to slow your roll. Markey being gone is great news, though. Again, I can't be any clearer in the message that I am giving here. I said I'm not crowning him anything. There's still tons of things to do. All I'm saying is that so far, he is delivering on exactly what he laid out on day one, literally day one. Or I guess his press conference was like his third day, maybe. I forget exactly, but it was a couple days after he was hired. But he is delivering on the plan that was given in his first media availability and kind of welcome to the Devils and introducing him to the world. No one said that Rodrigues and Boqvist are Prime, Crosby, and Malkin. Obviously, don't be ridiculous. But that trade was a nice deal for the organization today to upgrade the bottom six, move out a bad contract, and create additional cap space. I mean, you have to give credit where it's due. Walter Crunk, I honestly think the top six winger solution is going to be Grits. It could be, but I mean, let's be real. We have when we look, when we look, there's really a top four, and then it's been kind of rotating for 5, 6. So everyone for a while has understood that Grits could very well take one of those two spots. Who's the other one going to be? Some people will be disappointed with Connor Brown. I think as it stands today, he would be one of the most likely candidates, but that could change in a moment's notice as well. Jay Snow, scoring was our biggest need. I like Grits, but not Mercer there. A lot of people speculating Mercer is going to be gone. keep an eye on that. Is he going to be part of a bigger package for something crazy? HXC dude, thank you for the super. Sign Goaltending back and we good. In all seriousness, if we want to go the free agent route, Tolvanen, Arvidsson, or Bunting would be our best bets at a good value. My buddy wants Tolvanen too, from the Kraken. I don't know what is his, but like I said, for a while the free agent class is not amazing, there is still tons of options to potentially find some bargains. And I think that's what Sunny is going to prove over time as a specialty of his. I mean, he's already kind of proven it in Florida. Find guys with ceilings higher than what they're going to get paid. Where is the, let's see. Yeah, they have him projected at a 2-year deal at $3.66 million. It's actually $3,666,000. Maybe it's a sign. I lost my spot here. Who else is shopping for Hellebuyck potentially like us? Well, I mean, we know Buffalo was. I'm sure there could be some other teams sneakily trying to get involved as well. Jay Snow, send him off. I'd love a Jared McCann, but I don't know what Seattle's doing. Yeah, I mean, McCann's been a guy I feel like it's been talked about forever as well. Kevin H, much rather see the Devils go all in on a top 6 winger instead of Helly. Marchenko or probably will end up being someone whose name hasn't been shopped around. I've said that for a while. I think there could be guys dealt, maybe not necessarily involving the Devils, but just league wide. There's going to be some trades that people are like, whoa, I didn't even know, that guy was being shopped. And it's because some GMs, they like to keep it on the DL, as they say. And their names probably aren't out there. But Marchenko obviously would be a huge one. His cap hit for the upcoming season is ridiculously low. I think it's like 3.85. Let me double check that. But then he's going to get paid monster money after that. His cap hit is 3.85. So super manageable for this season. But then you're looking down the barrel of a, what is that? An 8-digit annual payday, 8-digit AAV in the 10 million plus category. Zach says Bedard going to get 12.5. Offer him Robertson money tomorrow. We got a Robo too expensive, Helly too old. And again, we talked about it on the earlier live. I think, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but just know that not every guy over 30 years old is, on his way to the nursing home or morgue. Every cup team has veterans and older guys on it. And it's a nice blend. Young kids, the old vets, the guys in their prime, the mid-20s. You need all of it to win. And I can certainly understand the thought process, especially with goalies, of people getting super weary of older guys. But Hellebuyck could potentially be giving a team high-level goaltending for another 3 or 4 years, I think. The Conniver 87 says, I think we get Jack's favorite player, Kane, tomorrow. He was on my list. He was definitely on my list. Sook says, I'm just waiting for the pitchforks to come out tomorrow and we don't get either one of Robo or Helly and people call Sunny trash again. I don't know. If that happens, it's shame on those people that do that. I suppose there's obviously going to be a small amount of them at a minimum. But hopefully the masses, after today have kind of let cooler heads prevail and realize that, okay, there is a plan in place. He is trying to walk that fine line of fixing the future and fixing the team now. He just completely inherited a mess. He inherited a Tom Fitzgerald created mess, and he's already cleaned up a good portion of it. Paulie Z, as much as I'd love Helly to be a Devil, maybe they could trade for someone like Stolars. Someone brought him up in the earlier live as well. Jersey boy. That would be an interesting plot line to see Stolars come back to New Jersey. Trevor says Kane and Jack on the same line could be nasty. It could. I think a guy like Kane at the right price, at a nice low price, gives you some options. BMP, I think Mason Marchment with his size and scoring could help the top 6. I would take Vladimir Tarasenko on a short deal. Both of those guys were on my list. Seabones, I think Mehta has been a breath of fresh air. Everything he has done has been, is that money? Has been money? Sunny. Yeah, Marchman's definitely going to get paid. Justin Smith, I think this is the happiest this fan base has been with a GM in a long time. That's interesting. It could be. And it is crazy that, and it's unfortunate that this is the case, but it seems like people so desperately wanted Markstrom off this team that literally just moving Markstrom alone put Sunny in their good graces, even though they were like, some of these people had unrealistic want lists too. Like, we must get a superstar top, not only a top 6, it's got to be like a huge name and all these things. And then just by way of trading Markstrom, these people were like, he's the guy. He's the guy. How did we ever doubt him? He's the guy. He traded Jacob Markstrom. And that's how intense the hatred from some people for Markey was. Unfortunate. Your guy fought a lot of injuries. I think he played hurt probably for a good portion of the season. It is what it is. It's over and done with now. The question mark remains of what the tandem will be for next season. Will it be Dawes and Allen? Will it be Allen and someone else? I can't see any world where Allen is dealt, because someone earlier was like, oh, what about Allen? And I'm like, no, it's going to be either Dawes and Allen or someone else and Allen, with Dawes kind of in the fold as the third goalie. Our Roma, we have $9 million cap space. We're really going to use 5 or 6 of it on Zuccarello. I think people are not talking about, like, with the cap space could change in a moment's notice as well with trading somebody out. So when people talk about cap space, assuming you're not talking about something ridiculous like Robertson and Hellebuyck and Quinn Hughes, like some of these people just listing everybody, get all these guys. Like, that'll never happen from a cap perspective or an assets perspective, really. But there certainly could be way more space than the $9 million you're referring to with other deals. But yeah, I do agree. In a world where you knew that was the only cap space that was going to be available at, for going into the season, using 2/3 of it on Zuccarello would probably not be wise. There's probably better options overall. Matthew E. Anders Lee going to end up in Minnesota with Quinn. That'd be interesting. Louis NJ says the round table fits out with the media is going to go down in NJD history. So awkward. It was pretty interesting. Six-pack pops. Line A for a 1-year bonus structured contract if he could stay healthy. I don't know if you saw my video or not, but in my free agent video, Line A is one of the 5 guys that I had listed. And I think that AFP Analytics had him projected on a 1-year, $850,000 deal. They project he signs a 1-year for veteran league minimum. I was stunned when I saw that. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a lot. There's a lot of question marks about him. He's had tons of injury problems. Like, I figured it would be low, but I was stunned when I saw league minimum. For anywhere near league minimum, I think any team would be crazy not to give him a shot. A one-time sniper, came into the league, was one of the young stars of the league. He was supposed to be, amongst the next generation of stars, and then he had all those issues. But would be interesting, especially for cheap. Then Play on Picture says, old school Devils fans are way more pragmatic and understanding of the process. Louis said, Roma doesn't like people being happy. BMP will be listening to free agency signings while I'm at work. July 1, always a great day, circled on the calendar. Sook says, I never thought I'd be the one with positive outlooks in this chat. Some of you are so PTSD-ridden, it's hilarious. It'll happen. Devil's Army for Life says, Sunny was on fire today. If he could somehow get out of the Kovacevic deal, I will personally email the city of Newark asking them to build the statue of Sunny. I don't think Kovacevic is, a lot of people trash him too. I mean, that guy was hurt for how long? He was hurt forever. Like, I think he could have a bounce back season. Bobby, thank you for the super. Not to beat a dead horse, but we should offer Sheep Bork. He'd improve the bottom six. Mercer, Bork, Grits. That's a very, very good bottom six. Yeah, but what is his compensation level? Let's see. What do they have him projected at? Two years at $3 million, 2.964. That's interesting. Because that anywhere near that, the compensation you have to give up is not crazy. It's an interesting one. I know you've been on the Bork trading for a while. But at the moment, it seems like barring any further trades for trading centers out, which I can't see happening, right now it looks like you have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Evan Rodrigues, Cody Glass, or Cody Glass and Rodrigues, however that plays out. But it seems like arguably, I don't even think it's arguable. I think it's like definitively the best center depth for the Devils in years and years. I'm trying to catch up here. Shout out to all you folks in the chat. Ace, I'm convinced that some people will never be happy. Sunny could trade for Gretzky, Lemieux, and all, and these people would still find some sort of fault. Well, I guess the fault they would find with trading for those guys is that, they're in their 60s now. Oh, man. Louis says, I doubt very much Columbus would trade Marchenko within the division. I mean, obviously that's usually last resort for most teams. You don't want to face a guy that many times that could come back to bite you. Trevor says, what is Bob looking for if Florida is willing to pay Markey $6 million a year? There was a report. I don't know if it was like definitive that this is what he asked for, but it was rumored that he was asking like for some obnoxiously long deal and per year. I think it was like he wanted like $7 or $8 million a year for 5 years. It was like something crazy. I remember when I was when I saw it, I was like, could this be real? I meant to double check that, but yeah, you'd have to think they wanted him back. He wanted to be back, but he just wanted that last payday. R. Roma says, what Devils fan doesn't want Hellebuyck? He instantly changes everything. It's R. Roma. It's not like the people don't want Hellebuyck. They don't want to pay the price to get him. Or his cap hit. That's what it is. Like in a vacuum, if someone's like, would you want Hellebuyck on your NHL team? For a fan of any team or whoever you're talking to, any team would love to have Hellebuyck, but that's not the question they're kind of answering. They're more of saying they don't want to pay Hellebuyck, essentially is what it is. Not that they don't want him, they just don't want to pay him. Connor Allen says Jeremy Lozon, 6 years, $4 million AAV. Duck signed AJ Greer to a 4x4. Wow. Robbie's bench toss says Greer getting 4+ AAV and a no trade clause is insane, period. Welcome to the new league, Robbie's bench toss. Welcome to the new league. The players are prying some control back. Jason said, I heard Tomas Hertl's name is being shopped. Someone brought him up a few weeks ago. I always thought he was an interesting dude when he was on the Sharks. Adam G6 says, question of the day is, does Sunny have enough assets to get both Hellebuyck and a top 6 finishing winger? I would say the answer to your question is, if you don't want to trade any core pieces, then no. if you're putting core pieces on the table available in trade, then you do have enough assets to do both of those things. But you're definitely, there's no world where they get Hellebuyck and a top 6 winger without trading a current core piece. I would have said it was slightly more likely a week ago when they had Nemo and the number 12 pick. Then I still think it would have been difficult then, but you had a way better chance than now. Now it would basically be an impossibility without including one of the core guys. Louis, I was convinced NJ would have to pay to get rid of Markstrom. The fact Sunny got something useful back, insane. And an additional $1.4 million in cap. I don't think people are understanding the gravity of the deal that was pulled off today. Because, they are bottom 6 guys and they're not these superstar players, but to simultaneously get rid of a bad contract, get roster players back, and free up more cap space is truly phenomenal. That is a truly phenomenal move. Michael S., like you said, Ace, Kane would be great for the locker room and could contribute something small on the ice if at the right price. Yeah, at the right price, I think Kane would be a home run. Line A can never stay on the ice. Yeah, he's got a lot of injury problems, but that's why AFP has him projected to sign for league minimum. At league minimum, you roll those dice. Roll those dice. Can Line A stay on the ice? $850K. You could find out. What's the over-under on regular season games played for him? BMP. Line A would be an interesting signing if he could stay healthy. Jack feeding him pucks with his shot. It's a beautiful shot. It's a beautiful shot. He scored a ton. I think he scored over 100 goals his first 3 seasons combined in the league. It was like, let me see. It was like in the 30s. He had a 40, I think. Let me see. Yeah, his first 3 seasons in the league. 36, 44, and 30. So you're talking about 110 goals in his first 3 seasons in the league. Pretty good. And then all the stuff happened. Six-pack Pop says Hall reunion will be wild. I can't see it. Connor Allen, is there a chance that Sunny may take a shot at offer sheeting someone? That would be interesting. Someone brought up potentially offer sheeting Bork a couple minutes ago. I don't know. Across around the league, it's not really utilized too much. Going back, it's kind of been like this taboo, frowned upon thing. Only like the most cutthroat GMs do it. It would be interesting to start if GMs started utilizing them more, and it kind of like there was like a renaissance rebirth of offer sheets flying around. It would certainly make some interesting drama. Suk says we are going to wind up with Claude Giroux, aren't we? I don't think so. Bobby said it. Oh, and guess what? I met the great one tonight. Tell us more. Amagi, what's up? Development camp tomorrow. Very nice. Connor Allen says, do you expect Salayev to be on the roster opening night? I do not, but while I don't think it's likely, I don't think it's impossible. Depending on what other guys get moved out, and if Salayev looks good in camp and has a good preseason, I suppose it's possible. I would, again, say it's a long shot. I think he's going to play in Utica, but you never know what could happen. Tanner Janot. Yeah, I mean, animal. R. Roma says 8.5 for Hellebuyck is too high, but people want to go shopping for Scrubs, Mantha, and Line A in free agency. Holy low expectations. Again, Roma, you're just kind of completely ignoring the reality of the salary cap, right? We're talking about Line A at near veteran league minimum. We're not talking about signing Line A for $4 million. We're talking about Line A at $850K. That is an entirely different conversation than, these guys making 5, 6, 7, 8 million. A guy like Line A at $850K is a totally different type of move. That's a straight up gamble. Ryan Demand says, nice to see Jesper Boqvist coming back to New Jersey. Adam G, total pipe dream, but as much... Oh, I hit the mic. As much as I don't want to trade Bratt, if you could somehow pry both Kyle, Connor, and Helly from the Jets, what is Connor's cap hit? I think he's in the mid-8s. I can't see them trading both of them in one shot. Oh, my God. Kyle Connor's cap hit is $12 million. I'm a hard pass. Hard pass on Kyle Connor at 12 mil. That's a lot. Douglas says, Ace, don't forget that the Markey deal also saves $6 million next season. Yeah. Rodrigues and Boqvist are entering the last year of their deals. So to Douglas's point, Markey was under under contract for this season and the season coming up and the season after. So that's obviously $6 million for that second season. Michael says, need a fourth. Is that I don't know, 4 left winger, tough guy? 4th line left wing? Louis says, I want nothing to do with Hellebuyck at 8.5 for like 5 more years. The only saving grace is he doesn't have an insanely restrictive trade protection, but his cap alone would make it hard to move him. Yeah, it would. And obviously with a lot of guys that are, over 30, you will be running the risk of the contract aging poorly, but that is the price you pay when you are trying to obtain guys like this and you are trying to win now. It's there is no walk in the park, automatic, easy decisions to make. That is the price you pay. Are you willing to take on that contract to try to win now? And make no mistake about it, I still don't think the Devils are remotely involved. It just doesn't seem like a Sunny Mehta move to me. But getting Connor Hellebuyck would definitely be one of the most win now type moves that you could make, because you do know he has a certain shelf life. Call it 3-4 years more if you're lucky, 4 years. That's win now. You're not getting him to not push the chips in the middle and try to win a cup. Sook says Quinn re-signing with the Wild is a given. I thought that forever. I still think he signs with the Wild, but now with all the craziness going on the past couple days, I have to at least bump up the percentage of Quinn Hughes not re-signing there, at least a little bit. Aroma says Line A is a waste of a roster spot. Forget the cap hit. I would have to, at $850K, I'm sorry, you would never be able to convince me that that's not a worthwhile gamble at $850K. If it doesn't work out and he's terrible, then you scratch him. What do? You win some, you lose some. No pain, no gain. Laura says NJ needs to get younger players still. I disagree. They don't need to get younger players still. They need to get players that make the team better. They should be in true win now mode. And win now mode includes gentlemen over the age of 30. I know that'll come as a shock to many of you, but guys over the age of 30 are not dead. They are not crippled, and they could still contribute to a winning NHL team in the year 2026. 30 plus years old does not mean dead. Does not mean dead. Look at Stamkos last year. I wish I took screenshots. I wish I kept the receipts. of all the people. He's washed. He's so old. Oh my God. He's a grandfather. And then Stammer had like 45 goals. Beast. Absolute beast. I'll come back tomorrow when Quinn resigns with Minnesota and let you know how wrong you are. I don't know who you're talking to, but I've been in the camp of I think he's staying there. Trevor says if Quinn contract isn't announced tomorrow, there's problems. They want the noise to go away. I would say if it doesn't happen by Friday, if it doesn't come out by Friday, then I'm going to start to I'll be bumping up the percentage chance Quinn Hughes eventually or leaves Minnesota somewhat soon. It will be going up rapidly and daily if it's not done by Friday. Laura says we need to use Nico Daws full-time in New Jersey. He's getting older and needs his NHL time. I'm curious, Laura. Would you be comfortable with, and based on your comment, I'm going to assume the answer is yes, but I got to ask, would you be comfortable with a Nico Daws, Jake Allen tandem for next season? A lot of people earlier today expressed that they are deathly afraid. That they are deathly afraid of that combo. Devils Army for life. GMs across the league following Fitz's lead and handing out no movement clauses like candy. Will this eventually lead to the NBA-ification of the NHL and players will demand trades multiple times per contract? I mean, it's already kind of starting to happen. It's already slowly shifting towards that. R. Roma says maybe Helly is a pipe dream, but I find it hard to believe they're running with Daws and Allen next year. I do too, to some extent, but in the same breath, I look at it and I'm like, is that like the ultimate? You know, they looked at it and Sonny's like, yeah, we could have two goalies for under. I have no idea what is Let me see something. They sent Nico Daws the qualifying offer, but I don't know. Does he have to take that? His qualifying offer was like $892,500. I mean, how could he? Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about just call it for flat number sake. Jake Allen and Nico Daws at $3 million. That could potentially be the cheapest tandem in the league. And it could be good. Does Sonny look at that and he's like, yeah, I found value in goaltenders. I have a tandem at $3 million. Now I could start, sprinkling some of that dough into forwards. Michael S., it just occurred to me that perhaps the Devils know Quinn won't resign and they could afford to trade Nemitz for picks. I mean, I don't know that in some crazy world where Billy Guerin was going to trade him this summer, I don't know that he would want – I don't think he would want futures. I think he would want win-now pieces. He's in win-now mode, so I don't know if he would have had interest in that first rounder. But I suppose if it was with, a roster player or two, maybe a prospect – I mean, yeah, to get the value that he would want, he would have to take at least a pick. But that definitely could have been part of it. Suk said that smirk at the end of Billy G's interview when he was asked about Quinn told me all I needed to know. Did you interpret that as it's legitimately a done thing? Is that how you took it? Andrew Luca, I don't think he signs with Minnie. I really think the Hughes boys want to play together. It's not about money for them. Well, to some extent, it's about money for everybody, but I don't think, I do think that in this particular scenario, that money has no significance in Quinn's decision. I think he does want to play with his brothers, but I think he also wants to win a Stanley Cup. And I think that he genuinely likes Minnesota and believes they have a chance. So I think he's kind of torn. And in looking at the options, he's probably trying to figure out whether he wants to try to facilitate his move to New Jersey sooner than later, or if he wants to hang out in Minnesota for a few more years and reassess in the future. I think that's the struggle that he's dealing with internally. Our Roma, Billy G definitely signs Quinn for 3 years, but he should maybe get a center. Wild won't win with that group of centers. Noel73 says, as someone over the age of 30 and is in better shape than kids in their mid-20s, yes, age is a number, children. Andrew Lucas says, Stahl just won the Conn Smythe. Shows age isn't everything. The anti-30-plus crowd doesn't want to hear that. But, yeah, Bobrovsky won a cup at 35, almost 36. And then the second one was 36, almost 37. I talked about this earlier. The great Martin Brodeur brought the New Jersey Devils to the Cup Finals. 2012. I heard Sergei Bobrovsky's going to hit free agency and the Panthers aren't re-signing him. Maybe Sunny will try to get him when he hits free agency. I don't think so. One, I think he's a huge wild card. And two, I think he wants a ton of money. SSK says, Robo is everything this team needs. Whatever needs to get done should get done. Well, it would be a lot. To be able to fit him, you would I don't even know what a package for him would look like. It would definitely be multiple firsts, and they would, I don't even know. That would be a steep acquisition. 2 firsts, Mercer, Yegorov, and probably something else. They would definitely probably try to get Brad. I don't see how you would even be in the conversation of legitimately getting Robertson without trading a core piece. And then you have to pay him a ton of money. I just can't see it. It's just way too far of a reach, in my opinion. But I know people like to to hope for wild stuff. Justin says, Dawes is not starting for the Devils this year. Maybe they run Dawes' backup and trade Allen for a starter. I can't see them trading Allen. He has trade protection. He has young kids. He wants to be here. He gave them that super team-friendly deal to stay in New Jersey. I can't see it. Devils Army for Life is in a transition year. We could live with a Dawes-Allen tandem, but we need to compete now. That could potentially be good enough for the Devils to be a very good team. Ryder64, got to give Dawes a shot. Time to sink or swim. I like grabbing a third potential goalie that's serviceable. I could totally see like one of these kind of under-the-radar, veteran-ish goalies just to have in the mix. R. Roma, does Quinn rethink signing with Minnesota if Sunny gets Hellebuyck in the next 24 hours? That's an interesting one. I don't think so. I really don't think so. But then, like, what is that suggesting? That Sunny gets Hellebuyck and then Quinn's like, screw Minnesota, I'm in. So then you're talking about a world where you have to have the assets to acquire both Connor Hellebuyck and Quinn Hughes, and then you also have to have the cap space to accommodate them. At this point, because we've passed the Nemo and the 12th overall window, a package for Quinn would be insane. And I don't see how it would get done without Nico Hischier, and I just can't see Sunny doing it. Trevor95, Dawes saves you so much money, it might be worth it. With Allen as a 1B, it makes it less of a gamble. It's true, but if Dawes turns out to not be playable at the NHL level, you're then running the risk of really putting too much mileage on Jake Allen. I don't think Dawes can handle playing 50 games a year. Do you think he could play 45? Red Devil says, Sunny could build a time machine and bring us back a prime Marty Brodeur, and this fan base would bitch that he didn't bring back Stevens too, while also unloading Dougie's contract. I think it's true. Jay Snow says, if Quinn says no to Billy, no more Olympics for the Hughes boys. That is completely false. That is not true, Snow. Quinn could leave, and I promise you, both Jack and Quinn will be on Team USA in 2030 to defend the gold medal in Nice, France. I will be there once again, and it is going to be an incredible event. Michael S. Ace, who will be the goalie in Utica? He would be the backup if Dawes flops for a bit. Jacob Markstrom would be the starter. Noel says, Quinn was caught hanging at the Jersey Shore over Memorial Day weekend with Jack and Luke. I mean, what do you mean by caught? What does caught mean? They're his brothers. The Jersey Shore is a great place for young 20-somethings to go hang out. Why wouldn't he go? That has no bearing on his decision in terms of where he wants to spend seasons of his NHL career. Connor Allen, is there a chance that a big move by Sunny may involve a package including Casey? It could. We haven't heard much of Casey. We talked about him a little bit on the earlier live as well. It seems like he could be coming up to a sort of crossroads. He changed agents, which is usually a sign of something, you know, whether that's he's unhappy or he wants a trade, who knows. But I do think you're getting close to the time where, and he's still very young. He's only, I think, I looked this up before and I can't remember, 22? Yeah, he's 22. You would think, you know, if he's not in the organization's plans to be in the NHL, then maybe you look at trading him off. Yeah, I would be so curious to know what Casey's value is. He has some value, but it's probably nowhere near what it was once upon a time. Noel says, Robertson, let's wait for Quinn and maybe snag a decent goalie like Buck. Let Sunny cook. Yeah, you're asking Sunny to cook a whole lot. Robertson and Quinn. NJ Devil 1525, with everyone getting better around this past week in the division. I'm sorry, that tandem is solid, but it will not get us anywhere near over the hump. I mean, I could see that being the perceived most likely outcome, but you know, there is a chance that it works out well. JM Punk says Dawes has to get a shot, otherwise what's the point? I mean, but do you do it at the expense of possibly flushing another season of an aging core down the window? Down the toilet. I'm delirious. R. Roma says Quinn signs next year when the cap goes up, just doesn't extend with Minnie. If he refuses to sign, it'd be very interesting to see whether Billy G tries to trade him right away or hangs on to him and revisits it down the line. Thoughts on Bobrovsky? I think he's done. I think he's donezo. And based on the fact that that he's not signing with the Panthers, and they're willing to pay Markey $6 million, like someone said earlier, like what the hell does this guy want? Nothing that would be worth considering. Noel said, I'm definitely coming this time. I should have taken the dive to go to Italy. Oh, man. Greatest trip of my entire life. I actually, given how the game ended and everything into consideration, and it was in Italy, and I always wanted to go to Italy. It was a bucket list item of mine, along with Olympic hockey, and then they collided for Olympic hockey in Italy. I couldn't even fathom even a pipe dream version of a trip that could even remotely touch that one. It was the trip of a lifetime to never be topped. It's the trip that I will measure all trips against going forward, and they'll all be less than. The Faustian man, congrats on the new channel and job. Thank you. Billy G is Shooter McGavin. Shooter. Devils Army for life. Toronto and Tampa are the two favorites for Werenski, according to LeBron. Roma 3, I like Casey, but I don't think he has much value around the league. He's much more valuable to us. I'd rather he stays in New Jersey and plays this year. We'll see. There's going to be some competition. You still got Edwards lurking in the wings. You got Chisholm. Could Salayev shock the world? Andrew Lucas says, what's the draw for him and Minnie? They just got spanked in the second round. It's not like they are a powerhouse. Well, they made the playoffs, right? The Devils didn't. The Devils failed to make the playoffs in 2 of the last 3 seasons. So there's that. They had a 104-point regular season. A 104-point regular season. Like, they're a good team. They are a good team. Suk says Wild have a much better chance of winning a cup in the next 3 years than the Devils do. Simple as that. And that has to be the reality that most of these people just don't want to accept. I can't fathom how, if you could objectively look at the situation, take off your rose-colored glasses, how you could not see that is the truth. That as it stands today, again, that could change very quickly. But as it stands today, the Wild definitely are in a better spot to push for a cup. That is just a fact. How could you even deny it? DRPG says, thoughts on Jay Woodcroft coming to New Jersey from Anaheim to run the power play and possibly take over if when Keefe gets turfed. I don't know. I'm curious to see who's going to get tapped to be the power play coach, though. People were throwing out names of former players and stuff, which I'm obviously always a sucker for. I think people were talking about Pavelski. I think a couple people threw out Scotty Gomez. Matthew E. says, Quinn deal will be 3 times 14. This isn't my guess. I know. You can tell me I'm right after it happens. That'd be interesting. Laura, do you think the Devils lost a good prospect in Crookshank? I don't. He's like almost 27 years old. I just think he's one of those fringe guys that's like, is he an NHL player? Is he not? He's more of an AHL player. Does he ever fully stick with an NHL club? I don't think anyone should lose sleep over him being included in the deal. Tim Fritz, should the Devils trade Dylan, Casey, Squires, Roosevelt, and a 28th third rounder to the Kings for LaFerriere and a 27 fourth rounder? I'm going to say no. Andrew Luca, Hamilton, Bratt, and 2 number 1s for Quinn. That would be a good amount of additional salary going to Minnesota. Can they afford that? I haven't looked at their cap situation. In terms of value, it's probably not far off. I just don't know if they'd have any usage for Dougie. Bratt and 2 number 1s is definitely a good start. I just can't see it happening, folks. But, man, how crazy it would be if it did happen. I think the Devils online community would melt. JM Punk, what would you do at goalie if you were in charge? Oh, man. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. I've had so many conversations with some of my buddies over the last few days about this. And as tempting as it is to, I guess, kind of hone in on the big names or some of the bigger name forwards, and obviously scoring was an issue last year. I don't know. The more, even though they weren't credible rumors, but the more conversation that started happening around the Hellebuyck thing, I do think if you have the opportunity to get a guy like that, and it's not a crazy price in terms of what you have to pay to get him. I mean, $8.5 million a year cap hit's not cheap, but it's not crazy. He's certainly worth it. I do think if the package they were asking for to get him here wasn't that crazy, that it could be the move, because that is a true signifier of win now. He's a goalie. He's 33. You know, he has he's at 4 or 5 years left, but he's going to give you a few to 4 good to very good seasons ahead of him. That is the ultimate win now move, and I think that's what I would try if I was in charge. I just think he's an X factor that can win games and steal series when it comes down to it. I understand people will point to his postseason struggles in Winnipeg, but he does have the ability to play the big game. Obviously, the gold medal game, USA was getting worked over. Canada was just dominating, and Hellebuyck kept him in the game, and ultimately Jack won it for him. Noel73 says, I hate to sound like a geek, but I want to visit France to walk areas that Franklin, Jefferson, and other founding fathers stayed and visited. Apparently have war museums honoring our history. That's cool. Sook says, I'm excited to see random players move that no one expected, not just Devils in particular, but around the league. I really hope it's a busy trade day. Roma 3, apparently Werenski just turned down a trade to Dallas. He wants TB. The NHL has become the NBA. I don't know exactly where that was reported. I'm just obviously reading what someone said. No choking says, imagine Devil signing Bob in free agency. That would be comedy. I can't see it. Jason, if you had to guess, Ace, do you see another trade or free agent signing for us? Oh, definitely. Definitely multiple moves, whether they're, a trade and a free agent signing or 2 trades or 2 free agent signings. I think there's going to be at least 2 moves. I don't know if they both happen tomorrow, But I think it's safe to say you'll see, I think, at least a move tomorrow, and then at least one more in the day or two after that. Connor Allen, thoughts on a Glass extension when he becomes eligible for one? I think Cody Glass has been a pleasant surprise for the New Jersey Devils. I did include him, I think, in the list that I hate to give, but the silver linings of a down season, one of them was kind of I don't necessarily know if I call it a breakout, but the Cody Glass surprise. I think he surprised a lot of people. Had a very solid year. Very nice dude. I talked to him at an event for a few minutes. Very nice guy, and he's deceivingly big. He's a lot bigger than a lot of guys on the team. Definitely like some size at center. Adam G6, ironically, Tom Fitzgerald's biggest crime was signing Jack Hughes to a bargain 8-year, $8 million AAV contract, and halfway through it having only one playoff series win to show for it. Isn't it sad? And then what's even sadder is you could rewind all the way back to 2012. And after that point, it's still only one playoff series win. No Choking said, what did you make of Van Hanen? He looked great in the footage you guys shared from camp, like really, really good. I thought he looked stellar. Listen, I'm not going to lie. Just think about this, right? These are a bunch of 18-year-old kids playing with other 18-year-old kids at the camp. And these are kids that were drafted either last year or this year. So to me, they pretty much all look good because they're young kids that the New Jersey Devils scouting department have earmarked as potential NHL players. So to me, they all look good. When you look at them, you're like, damn, they're ripping crazy slappers, and this the stick handling. They all looked good because they are, potential hopeful NHL players. But in terms of, who stood out or excelled, I thought Van Hanen was the best player on the ice. He made a bunch of plays that you were like, damn, really good stick. He made some nice breakups on D. Seems like he has some nice speed, even though the kind of drills they were doing, it's kind of tough to assess necessarily, but he definitely has a nice burst and a little bit of feistiness to him. He had a couple little plays where you could see he's not going to shy away from that sort of stuff. But easily, to me, the one that stood out the most throughout the day. And I believe there's probably – I actually have to go back and when I get off of here, I'll probably watch it in bed. I'll probably pass out watching it. But I did want to rewatch the footage because I can't remember what I was just, witnessing live versus witnessing live and filming it, because obviously that's just a fraction of what I saw. But I tried to get the stuff that I thought you guys would find interesting. But he definitely was impressive all day. Scored a ton of goals in different ways. No Choking, rank these three for coming into Devils. Ranking in terms of likelihood or what? I need more information. Rank them in terms of what? If you're just talking about who do I think would be the most valuable player to the Devils on that list, I would definitely tell you Robertson. But I don't know the exact question you're asking, because he would be arguably the most expensive one to get in a trade, and then he's going to definitely have by far the most, or I should say the highest cap hit. Laura said, is Lenny going to be in the NHL full-time next season? I would be shocked if he wasn't. And if somehow that happened, that would mean that Sunny Mehta acquired a ton of depth in a bunch of players over the summer. For him to get pushed out of the lineup would be pretty wild. Dr. PG McEwen on a PTO, would you do it? Absolutely. it's definitely worth giving him a PTO. I liked what he brought. We saw him for 2 games, I believe it was, maybe 3. Got injured, was out for a while, came back, season-ending injury. Who knows what he's going to look like? But I thought, big fella with some grit, will fight on the fourth line, could skate, brings the energy, gets in on the forecheck, could blow guys up. I thought he looked pretty good, and I thought he looked like the exact type of guy that we needed to start possibly crafting like an identity fourth line, and then the injury bug hits him like everyone else. Robo, Larkin, DeBrincat. That's exactly how I would rank them as well. Snook says, if you want to be a serious organization, then you don't run Alan Dawes. I would love to see it, though. Abraham says, hey, bro, I just wanted to say I was the guy who called in to defend Fitz a few years ago. Obviously, my opinion on him changed every move after that call we had. Fitz completely failed, as I'll explain. Yeah, I tried to tell you, man. I tried to tell you all the way back then, but it's okay. Some people take a little bit longer to come to reality, but the writing was on the wall for that man a long time ago. No Choking says, rank in terms of maybe transition into NJ Devils. Obviously, Robo is a goal scorer, but expensive. DeBrincat is a playmaker, but do we need more? Rank them on how happy you would be. Yeah, my list is, I think, the exact opposite of the way you listed it. Robertson would be 1, Larkin would be 2, and DeBrincat would be 3. We need more than just the points he's showing on paper. And I'm sorry, but we need some big dogs. We don't have enough of them. He's a midget. I'm not. I have an issue with this team getting pushed around and just watching it for years. It's just they need to do something different if they're going to be a true contender. He's a good player, but I just think we need something a little different. The Met Jet Devil guy, are you going to miss the jerseys next season? No. I'm very curious to see what the new design is going to be. Suk says, McEwen was a failed experiment. Tired of expired goods and Charmin ultra soft on this team. No, that's why I would like to see, a little bit of the nastiness, but skilled nastiness. Not 12 Curtis McDermotts. People used to be like, oh, a bunch of you guys just want 15 Curtis McDermotts. And it was like, no, that's never what was said. Abraham, trading for Toffoli, then losing him for nothing, trading for Markstrom, then extending him, signing Kovacevic just because he played good in Europe to open the season, not moving Dougie when he could. I think a lot of the Fitz defenders, I think, dropped off after the Quinn deal didn't go through. I think after that, people the people that were just blind loyalists that ignored all of the other things that went wrong before that they somehow excused. I think Quinn was the last straw for a lot of these people. They were counting that as a done deal. I'm surprised some of these people didn't have Quinn Hughes Devils jerseys made up already. The Rage Quick Gamer, maybe instead of Robertson, we could look at Adams. I guess it's supposed to be Fantilli or Trevor Zegras. What are your thoughts on that? Why are those guys? Those guys aren't going to get traded. SJ says Larkin was so good in the Olympics, but he wants Mini apparently. Yeah, of course. That's a destination. Can you imagine the Tkachuk line facing Brat, Jack, and DeBrincat? Yeah. Both Tkachuks and Sam Bennett. In the words of Liam Neeson in Taken, or it wasn't Liam Neeson. He was in Taken, but in the words of the guy he talked to on the phone, good luck. Brandon says Winnipeg CJOB 680. I guess it's an AM station. Reporting Jets, Devils, and talks of Hellebuyck deal involving 27 first-round pick, 28 second-round pick, Seamus Casey, Cody Glass, and Dawson Mercer for Helly, Brad Lambert, and a 27 second. Wow. Brandon Lewis, if I'm not mistaken, weren't you the tourism guy from Winnipeg? You're the tourism person? I think. No way. That would be crazy. Winnipeg CJOB. I'm trying to find if that radio station has a website or anything where that's like in writing. Are you trying to strip your jersey? Is that what you're trying to do? No choking. I'm signing off. Thanks for answering my questions and sharing footage from camp today. Hope to wake up to a Nico signing early morning. Have a good night. Thanks, man. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thanks for coming out. Abraham. Yo, the craziest part is I remember talking to Abraham on the phone, and he was fired up, and now he's continuing to list all of the all of the things about Fitz that made him change his mind after however long ago that was. Abraham says, trading for Dumoulin as a rental when Jack was hurt 2 years ago, trading for Bukestad last year of all people when we should have been selling, and most of all drafting like shit. Yeah, the damage is deep. The damage is deep. Suk says, speaking of McEwen, are there any legit players of any type that you would actually want to snag from another team tomorrow? Are you talking about a trade or a free agent signing? The Met Jet Devil guy, do you think there's going to be a lot of big action right at the start of free agency tomorrow? Between trades and signings, I expect it to be a busy day. Devil Army for life. Is it possible that Brat gets moved? Would Sunny even do it if it meant getting a big-time player like Robo in return? Only Sunny can answer that question. But you do have to keep in mind, Brad is on a super team-friendly deal. Robo is going to get paid monster money. I don't know. I do think Robertson is going to give you way more goals, and he's going to give you more points as well, but definitely way more goals, which are at a premium. The New Jersey Devils certainly need to find goals. But is that increase worth the difference between Brat's I forget. Is he 8.8? $7.875. Yes, you're talking about Robertson's going to get paid, $6 to $7 million more than that, a little less than double. So you're not getting double the production. You might get double the goals. It's definitely possible to get double the goals, but is that worth the additional funds? I did see that Winnipeg radio post on Twitter. Can you tell me where? I want to look it up. Abraham, correct. Quinn was definitely the last straw. I knew it, but I was never a blind loyalist guy. I just like the contracts he gave Brad. I like the Timo trade, even though he's been trash. We gave up basically nothing. No, and listen, I agree. Multiple things could be true at once. Obviously, the Brat contract was good. The Timo trade, I still think, was good, even though Timo had a down year. But the point is, you could give someone credit for those moves, but then also give them the criticism for the tons of other stuff, which you only scratch the surface with the stuff you were saying with your little list. Moose Man says the Hellebuyck deal would be great for us. Matthew E., the big action tomorrow will be Robertson, Quinn, Werenski, Larkin, all signed in Florida at league minimum. Yeah, right. Sook says Helly to NJ rumors have definitely ramped up in the last 6 hours. Are they coming from anywhere credible, though? That's what I need to know. Tampa getting Werenski, that wouldn't be surprising. Abraham, you're funny, dude. This is definitely one of the funniest chats in a minute. So Abraham said, yeah, brother, just wanted to publicly apologize for that call. I'll take the L for defending Fitz. Everything after we spoke was complete trash and set this team back years. Listen, it takes a big man to say that. And dude, I vividly remember talking to you too, because it did get a little heated. It was all in good fun, but it did get a little heated. But yeah, the writing was on the wall, but I get it, man. You were blinded by some of the earlier stuff. It makes sense. It makes sense. It happens to the best of us. The Rage Quit Gamer, will you be streaming tomorrow? If so, what time? Yeah, definitely streaming, but tomorrow is the second and last day, technically, of On Ice stuff for development camp. So I will be, and there might be a Sunny Mehta media thing. So I don't know. At some point in the afternoon, you guys know I typically like to do an all day event while we sit there and watch NHL Network and reload the Twitter and wait for Elliot Friedman or somebody to drop a bomb. But yeah, there'll definitely be a stream tomorrow. I'll try to get it set up tonight, but it's definitely subject to change even when I post it. But it'll definitely be at some point tomorrow afternoon, and will likely just linger on into the night. Connor Allen says Thomas Harley was included in the Dallas offer for Werenski. Harley's a beast. SJ just wants to do the block. I want the Devils to get Helly so another team doesn't get him. Imagine the Canes or Sabres. It'd be brutal. This phone call was You'd have to ask Abraham. I want to say it could have been like 2 years ago. Was it like 2 years ago, Abraham? It was a long, probably at least 2 years ago. Matthew says Ace will be busy at the Sunny Media when he announces acquiring Quinn and Helly. Guys, there's no way the Devils could get both. I mean, I asterisk to that without gutting the team. And by gutting the team, I mean trading Nico. Devils Army for life, trade deadline 24-25 after Jack got hurt and we didn't add any impactful players. Despite being a playoff team and having cap space is what pissed me off the most about Fitz. That's definitely on the list of crimes. That's definitely on the list of crimes. Cody Glass. Was that the Sprong season? Was that Daniel Sprong? I think it was. Yeah, punting a season away. Dr. PG, there's an outside chance that Hellebuyck comes here since Sunny traded our de facto number one goalie. If his deal was shorter and a bit cheaper, I'd be interested. Listen, sometimes you gotta roll the dice and take these chances. No pain, no gain. If, but, no ifs, no buts. If you're trying to win now and a guy like that's floated out there, teams are going to take a swing. Tiker Lenchuk, Winnipeg fan here. Our local radio station tonight is suggesting Devils are now the front runner, and Elliot Friedman spoke with Roth this evening, suggesting is likely going down tomorrow. Stop it. Stop it. Is this real? Is this the same radio station that the previous person said? Well, now I got to do some research. Is this really on Winnipeg radio, and is this credible? Wow. Wow. Connor House says maybe we should ask Yager if he wants to be a depth piece for NJ. I always thought Yager would be a phenomenal, like, skills coach, off the ice training guy. His training regimen was absolutely insane. The guy was a physical specimen, an absolute workhorse. Legendary stories out there about Jaromir Jagr's workouts and the crazy times and the things he would do. Tyler says, what are your thoughts on Seamus Casey and Cody Glass, who was a Winnipegger? Can he be a good third liner? What about Mercer? Cody Glass was a very good 3C for the Devils last year. Mercer, I think, is ideally like a third line winger. I need to know about this radio station now. I need to know. About to trade for McEwen type player. Not through UFA. And then you could have no cap restriction, but ideally bottom 6. I was going back to the top 6. I've talked about him in the past before, and I've never heard any reports of him being possibly available, but I'm just curious because I think he'd be another guy that could be a nice fit. Tyler Bertuzzi. Talked about him a couple years back when he was a free agent. I thought he was a guy that could have been a good fit for the Devils because he brings the scoring and the nasty mean streak. I thought that could have been a really nice fit. I need to know about this Winnipeg radio station now. This is crazy. Talked about him before. At the right price, Anders Lee certainly helps the team. There's tons of guys that would be an improvement over some piece that's still in New Jersey for the most part. But the fact that he left the Islanders tells me he wants, more than what would be considered a good deal, I think. The Winnipeg radio reports are real and Elliott is aware. How come Elliott Friedman didn't write anything about it? The Met Jet Devil guy, if we were by some chance to get Helly and Quinn, they're not, please get that out of your mind. That's not happening. And even if it did, I don't know that it would, I still don't think it puts them. I mean, are you talking front runners by what? Vegas odds, I guess, is really the only thing you could use, correct? I mean, that's the only metric you would have on that. So, if by some chance the Devils got Helly and Quinn, would that make them front runners in the Metro? I still don't think. But the thing is, the Devils are like almost artificially inflated every year by Vegas odds. It could. I still think the Canes would be favored, but I wouldn't be stunned if those two additions resulted in a ton of money coming out on the Devils and then making them the favorite. But that ain't gonna happen. Brandon Lewis says, Ace, it's new, the travel bot. We got a radio host who does Jets and Blue Bombers, who is a main insider. He said he was told that deal is almost certain. Devils are front runners with Hurricanes in the mix. Wow. This is insane. No, JP, we all talked about the Kevin Weeks the tweet earlier with the eyes, but that's the typical Weeksy tweet. And then people just started speculating the Devils. And that's why I just thought it got all crazy and there was nothing of substance. But the first thing I'm hearing, in my opinion, that has any sort of merit, if it's in fact true what these people in Canada are saying, that a Winnipeg radio station is saying this, if they're legit, that's the first legit source I've seen talk about this. Adam G, 'twas the night before free agency and all through the house. Brandon Lewis, the radio guy is Toth, not Roth, but Kelly Moore is the source. Kelly Moore? Devil's Army for life. Yager was a solid Devil despite being old. He was one of our best players. Yeah, he led the team in points. He led the team in points. I don't think they would either, but he's always been on the list of guys for me that I thought would be like just perfect ads. JFA says tomorrow's going to be a war zone with all the guys who are going to become free agents. It's going to be crazy and chaotic. Yeah, July 1. July 1. Adam G, I was a Fitz defender for a while. especially after the 22-23 season. But the 25 deadline was when I really started to lose my patience. And like you said, fumbling Quinn was the last straw. I think that's really what turned the tide, because I honestly believe he had way more people like believing that something was going to miraculously manifest itself for several years. When he told you he hoped and wished, 23-24, they drown with no goaltending. 24-25, Jack gets hurt. He punts the season. I mean, the fact that there was anyone still defending him even after that was mind-blowing to me. But then I knew because the whole world knew the Quinn Hughes thing was on a platter. And once that got botched, I said, oh, man, that's the last straw for a lot of these people. A lot of his supporters are going to drop off now, and you guys are a living testament to that theory that you defended him forever, but the Quinn thing was the final death blow. SJ said, getting Helly is truly going all in, and I'm here for it. Absolutely. I said that a couple minutes ago. It's one of the most, because of his age, the position, everything about it is one of the strongest statements of win now you could possibly make for this Devils team, given where they are and the ages of these guys. MetJet Devil Guy, the Winnipeg AM radio station is probably so confused with all these NJ listeners tuning in on the app. Sook, the Winnipeg thing is actually real. I just used the worldwide radio app to listen to CJOB 680. They just mentioned the Devils like 10 minutes ago. MetJet Devil Guy says I listened to it on the app. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Evan. Multiple people are now claiming that Winnipeg radio station's on it. Do you think Dougie can get a first? Oh, man. I suppose if you found somebody desperate, it still seems a little bit of a stretch. But I could see maybe. Daniel's wrong didn't get you excited. Pete said, I think I lost faith in Fitz once we had the deadline where we got sprung. Yeah, that was, I mean, I guess that was still earlier than many people, because many people, it took the Quinn Hughes fumble for them to be out on him. But, I mean, the Sprong one was pretty glaring, too. A punted season. Evan Spitzy, I didn't know much about Tom, but once he was inactive the last two deadlines, I knew he wasn't serious about winning. Yeah. It was pretty obvious. Joe Cade says, wow, y'all, is this actually happening? I think he's referring to the Hellebuyck buzz heating up. Justin Smith, Ace wants proof. I mean, I'm glad multiple people are corroborating it, but I'm looking for a web page of theirs or something that's in writing, and I'm not finding it. Not that makes it that much more legitimate, in my opinion, but I still would just like to see exactly as it reads. Second, I could definitely see. A first would, I mean, yeah, I think if the Devils were willing to retain on him, I think they could definitely get a first, but I don't think they would want to do that. There's no point in doing that. And so, but listen, a few months back, there was people talking about how, I mean, obviously they were extremists, but they were saying that no one would take Dougie and this and that. And everybody, myself and many other people, were like, Dougie definitely has value. You're crazy. He has value to the Devils and he has value to other teams. I don't think it's first round pick value with the $9 million price tag, but you could definitely get something for him. Vecna Fitzgerald, Sonny loves draft capital. Absolutely. And you saw him move back twice on day 2 to pick up 2 additional picks, turned 4 picks into 6. Dr. PG, if we trade Mercer and Glass, we would still have more holes to fill, and their combined salaries are still less than Hellebuyck's, which means we'd have less cap space to add top 6 or any other impact forward. Well, that's obviously the salary cap, and I talk about this all the time. Every move impacts every other move. There is a domino effect. And hours ago, when people were like, oh, what do you think about Hellebuyck? I just said it really depends on your view of what the biggest splash they could make. Because in my opinion, even with moving a couple other things around, I think Sunny Mehta could either try for Hellebuyck or he could try for a big winger, a big-time winger. I don't see, again, always with the asterisk of outside of trading a core piece, because I think in the context of these conversations, most people are talking about without touching the current core. So if that's the path you're going down, I just don't see a world where you're able to pull a top 6 guy and Hellebuyck. To me, it would be one or the other. Again, both for the assets required to trade for them and the cap hit going forward. Jason Orensky turned down a trade to Dallas. He's in talks to go to Tampa. That's crazy. All these teams just keep getting better. That's how it works. That is how it works. The Met Jet Devil guy says, Helly and Jack, the 2 USA heroes on our team, one can dream, right? They are American heroes. Andrew Lucas says, if there was that much chatter on the radio in Winnipeg, then Elliott or Weeks would be reporting it. You would think, but who knows? I've been looking. I haven't seen anything. Abraham says, bit of a hot take, but I'm not crazy about trading for a goalie because you have to see what you have in Dawes and more importantly, Yegorov, but I obviously wouldn't say no to Helly for the right price. Big Mike, I still think is 3 years away at the earliest. So, I mean, we just talked about how the core is aging outside of Jack, and the team needs to make a push sooner than later. So you don't really have there's really no margin for error. There's no leeway. You got to start making the push now. Vecna says, I wish I took off work tomorrow. I personally have taken off the last, I think, 2 or maybe 3 or 4 July 1st free agencies. And now free agency is part of my job. What a world. What a world. Suk says $8.5 million AAV until 2031 is what Helly will cost. Yeah. No choking. Any reality where Helly's salaries are changed at all from Winnipeg? I guess if you overcompensate for that. I'm not looking at their cap situation in front of me right now, but if they physically could pull it off, if you want to give them a little more to hold on to some of that, that would be interesting. But just getting him at all would be a statement of all statements. Seahawk Devil Ace, you would have no trepidation on Helly being 33. Personally, no. There's just inherent risk with every deal, and the inherent risk in this particular one is that the contract does not age well towards the end of it. I mean, best case scenario, the guy gives a high level of goaltending for the entire contract. Worst case scenario, he has a couple okay years, then falls off a cliff. But no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. These are the chances you must take if you want to contend. Period. Andrew Lucas says Tom was thrown into a GM position he had no business being in. Ownership is to blame. They're definitely to blame for allowing him to remain on for as long as he did. I do think he should have been, ousted much sooner. But that's why now you got Sunny. New sheriff in town. Suk says, well, Helly cost and trade. I dangle Mercer and Glass with ease, which sounds like they are doing. I mean, it's going to take a lot. Based on what the reports that came out about Buffalo, I don't know. It seems like it's going to be an expensive acquisition. Justin Smith says they would have to convince Helly that the Devils can win the next couple of years. I'm sure he's familiar with the roster. Stiz, man, great trade. Gonna miss Markey. First player I liked when getting into him. I have his shirt, even wearing it now in honor of this trade. Can't wait to see Rodrigues and the Devils. Still surreal. A winner. Comes from a winning culture, a winning program. Andrew Luke, if Helly becomes a Devil, just think of the Olympic draw that is for this club. Americans will want to be an NJ. Dr. PG says, Sunny, don't do it. Brian Arvidsson is the guy. He excels as a shooter in every facet of the game, ranking in the 96th percentile for taking in-zone shots and in the 100th percentile for taking shots off the rush. I think a lot of people would be upset with that one. That's not to say that it couldn't pan out, but on the surface of it, that is going to be very underwhelming to the masses. Dire Wolf, this is such an important year. I can't believe we go with Dawes. Jake. Jack could easily pull this Werenski stuff next summer. If he's unhappy, we need to make the playoffs. And then everyone's jumping to that like, oh, Jack's going to like, that is just so absurdly premature. Like, that is nowhere near reality right now. It's just nowhere near reality. Not to mention that Luke is here. And everyone was talking about, oh, you know, the brothers want to play together. Well, then if you're so adamant about it, then you have to apply that principle to every situation. And if that's the case, he's not going to leave Luke. Right? I'll wear my Paul Cotter jersey next season out of respect. Now everyone's throwing out the packages. I'll be right back. I got to use the bathroom. I'm leaving the Winnipeg. I'll leave that in the picture of Markey. I'll be back in a minute. I need more information on this Winnipeg radio station. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. We'll start wrapping this up. It's late. Shout out to everybody for coming out. Appreciate all of you as always. Oh yeah, plug. I'm not wrapping up just yet, but follow me on X. I just dropped that link in the chat. Follow me on the Instagram. I'm just getting more involved on all of these things. Trying to bring you guys some cool stuff. Yeah, if you're into the prospects and stuff, definitely check out the prospect video. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. But I'm getting more involved in the other places, the other platforms. It'll ramp up in the early hours. Matthew E. Oh, this is get Helly in a trade, then use Helly in a trade to Minnesota for Quinn. Come on, this is getting crazy now. Dr. PG Hellebuyck or Stolars and Larkin, if you had to choose. Oh man, oof. Oh man, that's a tough one. I still go Hellebuyck. as much as I think Larkin's a good player, Hellebuyck is the X factor. He's the X factor. And it seems as for the moment now, the Devils appear to be fairly set at center. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Evan Rodrigues, Cody Glass, however you want to order them. That's the best center depth the Devils have had in years. S.J. Helly was the best player in that gold medal game. Canada was all over the U.S. I'm not worried about Helly. He could steal a game. That was a complete theft. He single-handedly stole the gold medal from the Canadians. What a game it was. A performance for the ages. Possibly the single greatest goaltending display I've ever seen. And I've seen some good ones, but that one is up there, especially given the stakes. You know, really the stakes is what made it so ridiculous. Jeff. I did look it up. I'm not finding it anywhere. Suk says Stolars and Larkin is probably the smarter ads. But Helly is the X factor. Yeah, I just think having that type of... What am I looking up, folks? Where could I find this? Because you're all talking about it, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. I saw the tweet from Winnipeg, Jeff Hamilton. All right, let's see if we could find him. I still can't find it. Oh, there we have an update. Jeff Hamilton of the Winnipeg Free Press just deleted his tweet. That's where I'm at, Snow. If there was any realness to this, any sort of legitimacy, I do think the usual suspects would be talking about it. Yeah. Jay Face said, if we get Helly, then it's cup or die trying. It's one of the most ultimate win now moves that could be made. And we got another, the tweet is gone. Sports Grid says, my friend just called me, told me we might get Helly. Oh, man. This is how the pandemonium starts. Now Suk's looking into it a little more, and he says this is happening, and he probably got in trouble. Now I won't be able to sweep. Oh, man. That would be something. My interest is super peaked right now. I have summers off, so this is good. The Met Jet Devil guy, don't mind me. I'll just be on my roof all night with a long-range transistor radio listening to a Winnipeg AM channel. Suk said, I swear there was a tweet that made it sound like it was all but official. Wow. Adam G. Nico Hischier and Connor Hellebuyck on the same day would be the greatest day in franchise history since when? I mean, let's not get crazy. They're just acquisitions. They're not the actual results of a game. I would say it's easily the greatest day in franchise history since the Devils beat the Rangers in Game 7, I would say. It'd be the greatest day since then. Pizzas, I refuse to get my hopes up. Late night Hellebuyck watch. Barkley says Hamilton is a reputable sports journalist. He covers the Blue Bombers, one of the better ones. Send me a link. Send me a link from someone credible talking about this. You guys are talking about the AM radio station. Then the guy deleted the tweet. Am I going to any Utica games this season? I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm just trying to get to these next couple days. Another long day and night tomorrow. This has now been officially like, I don't know, what am I going on? Like 15 hours of just nonstop hockey stuff. What a wild day. Jay Snow said, scoring is still a huge problem with this team. I love Helly, but I might have to go a legit top sixer over Helly. I could totally understand that. I've maintained for a very long time that goaltending was not the Devils' biggest issue last season, and it was, in fact, goal scoring. However, if you land a Connor Hellebuyck, you'd like to believe that you wouldn't have to score as many goals to win games. Oh, I'm definitely interested if there's something credible about it. I'm just haven't seen anything credible. Jay Snow, 31st in 5-on-5 scoring is brutal. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Yeah, the Sabres, that's been out for a couple days, I think. Man, they would be beastly if they got Hellebuyck. Devils Army for Life says Winnipeg radio station looking to Jersey for new listeners. Yeah, I don't see this anywhere. You guys are getting real fired up over this, but I'm still yet to see anything remotely credible outside of just rampant speculations and rumor mongering. Jay Fay says, if Helly goes to Buffalo, you can count me on being on that wagon if they make it back to the playoffs. They're going to be a playoff team. Jeff Hamilton of Winnipeg Free Press. Yes, everyone keeps saying words. I don't want to see you type in the chat. Send a link. Very simple. I don't need your Cliff Notes version of the story or a summary or a paraphrase. Literally just put a link in the description, please. No one's been able to do that yet. Link in the chat, I mean. Yeah, miraculously the tweet was deleted. Bosco Nash just saw a screenshot of Hamilton's tweet. It was recently deleted. Says he is hearing Devils have put together offer. Chevy is listening. Side note, Hurricanes have also ramped up offer as well. Oh, my God. He cannot end up in Carolina. Jason knows that I know a guy who knows a guy who heard it on the radio. It's happening. That's kind of what it sounds like. Arrest Tom Fitzgerald just got off the phone with Hellebuyck. He confirmed it's true. Private Pirate, the beat writer said it's happening, then deleted the tweet. Yeah, so maybe he realized he got bad information. I mean, I'm just so curious why nobody super credible has talked about this outside of Weeks just basically insinuating that Hellebuyck was going to get traded, but didn't mention a destination. Hellebuyck seen at Newark Airport. It's in Morse code on the radio. Devil's Army for Life says, I feel like this happens every time there's a pursuit for a big-name player. Everyone wants the clicks. I do hate clickbait culture, and it is just run wild with pretty much everything. Just constant clickbait everywhere. Like, why? Matthew E., I live in Winnipeg, so here's what I know. It's secret radio. You have to be invited to listen, and they block out cities like Newark. They say he's going to Carolina. That's what it sounds like to me. He got bad information and then deleted it. Yeah. No Choking says, is there literally a link for any source whatsoever that actually ties Helly to New Jersey except potential interest? I've been waiting for it for over an hour now. All I've heard is stories about how it was on the radio and how someone deleted a tweet. I've yet to see anything. Still, to this very moment, have still not seen anything. David Ryan, everything these days break on. There's literally nothing credible on a Hellebuyck trade. Thank you, David. I see nothing. Lou David says Sean Reynolds is on Winnipeg Sports Live now. They're talking about free agency and are saying tonight it looks like Helly is being dealt. Devils mentioned, but nothing else. Well, what exactly did he say about the Devils? Souk says Helly, New Jersey was mentioned on that station, and then the reporter tweeted it about it like an hour later and deleted the tweet. Ryan NJ Devils says Wild not close to signing Hughes. Buffalo has legit packages that have been offered. Matthew E. I'm now seeing reports Helly vetoed a trade to New Jersey. Listen to local sports talk here in South Sudan. Yeah, this is what I've been saying for forever, Snow. It's a rumor. I want something credible. They're talking about it on CJOB again. I wish it was easy. Oh, everyone's saying it's on CJOB. All right, so 2 people are saying it's on CJOB. Can someone give us a verbatim quote in the chat what they're saying? Because most of us don't have Winnipeg radio in our lives. Someone tell me how. How do I get it? CJOB. Turn on C. Is it the news?
On CJOB. Long weekend warriors, this one's for you. For those destined for the cabin or the backyard party. For those ready to dial up.
Is this the right? Do I have the right thing playing, folks?
Just remember, if your plans involve drinking, then they shouldn't involve driving. Have a designated driver, call a ride, stay the night. Even 1 or 2 drinks before getting behind the wheel is not worth the risk.
CJOB is a Winnipeg radio station, and I'm piping it in right now. We're at commercial. We're anxiously awaiting.
Glide into power and precision. Great West Maintenance, Manitoba's dealer for forklifts, boom lifts,
Manitoba.
telehandlers. Expanding your fleet or just a short-term rental, you need relentless reliability from a huge in-stock inventory of new, used, and rental equipment. And pricing that can't be beat. Locally owned and operated, call 204-783-6190 or visit gwmforklift.ca.
You're a listener tuned in for the insights that matter. But what if you could turn those insights into action? Head over to milesturco.com where you'll find guides that go beyond words, giving you the tools to start building the retirement you envision.
Public service announcements on Canadian radio. Is this the right station? I mean, this is CJOB.
Where listening leads to action.
RBC Dominion Securities is a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund.
Every family has their traditions. Friday pizza nights, birthday dinners, movie marathons, and for generations,
Bro, I'm on their website. I don't know what you're talking.
Crafted sauce,
Is it the Ben Mulroney show? I mean, I'm on their website. Where do I?
So whether you're celebrating a milestone or just the end of a long day, make it a Santa Lucia pizza night. Dine in, takeout, or delivery. Santa Lucia Pizza, bringing families together one slice at a time.
For footwear, outdoor gear, and craft supplies, head to Outfitters.
I give up on this.
With thousands of pairs of shoes.
I'm done. I give up. I went on their website and clicked the play button. I don't know. All right, we have a quote. It sounds to me like the Devils have put together a last-minute package for Hellebuyck, and the Jets are seriously considering it. This could be a done deal as early as 11 a.m., which is 12 p.m. our time. Jungle Static, I've been asking for a link for at least probably an hour and a half now. Maybe it's only been an hour, but it's been a long time. There's been not a single link. Supposedly there was a tweet that was deleted. They supposedly said it on this CJOB radio station, but I've seen nothing anywhere. I haven't seen anything. Are you talking about the radio station? David Ryan, when's the last time a trade broke at 12 midnight? Probably not. Bro, I'm tired of hearing of the CJOB. Put a link. Put a fucking link. How can we access this? I went on their website and you're like, it's not the right one. It seems like that's what's happening. I give up. Oh man, I'm achy. Bosco, did they say a team? Helly to NJ is happening. I can't find. I did. Right on their website. There's a play button, but I'm not going to sit here and spend more time looking for some fictitious radio station that may or may not be spewing nonsense. Okay, so there's no mention of the team, but said the framework likely in place. Well, that means nothing to me at this point. Now we just sit and wait. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done. What a day. What a night. Yeah, I'm really beaten up. Shout out to everybody for coming out. What a day for Sunny Mehta at the office. Quite the day. If you like prospect stuff, I will drop the link in the chat once again for the development camp video. Check that out. Where is this stupid thing? Back tomorrow with more everything. Follow me on X. Follow me on the Instagram. Subscribe for nj.com. Going to be putting out cool stories all summer and all season long. nj.com. Man, this Hellebuyck stuff is crazy. And I don't know if these people are full of you-know-what or if somebody really may have spoken out of turn and then deleted their tweet. Very interesting. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. The MetJet Devil guy, my pigeon carrier, just flew back from CJOB Studios. The stunning development there, still playing ads. Man. We will all wake up to Helly news. Anthony McClanahan says Devils and Hurricanes are the two teams on Hellebuyck. Man. James says, I live in Winnipeg. Helly not traded for nothing. The guy's a winner. Melissa Mike said, Hayes is on SC now. Said Canes and Devils frontrunners. Is that Sports Center now? What is SC? Joe Cade, us and the Canes. Sue, Hayes is friends with Jeff Hamilton. Sabres and Panthers are out. Dime season. I will be live at some point tomorrow. There is a development camp skills competition or something tomorrow. So I will be there covering that. There may or may not be a Sunny Mehta media availability of some kind tomorrow. So I don't know what the schedule is going to look like, but I am going to certainly be live at some point, whether that's late afternoon or night. But like I said, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you put those notifications on. And yeah, I'll definitely be back. This Hellebuyck thing is super interesting. I think Buffalo will come back around. No choking says more footage coming from camp, longer videos, please. I mean, that one was pretty long, and it seems like people don't really like long videos. I have to look at the stats, but I don't think the prospect stuff is never super popular because it's for the real junkies. Shout out to you junkies who who want the prospect stuff, because the masses really don't. They rather engage in the rumor mill and all the nonsense. But for those that are into the prospects and want to see the behind the scenes prospect stuff, shout out to you guys. You're the hardcores, because most people don't really care about that stuff. Suk says it mentioned on CJOB, and Jeff spilled the beans, deleted it, and now Hayes mentioned it. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Hose is the host of Overdrive. He was just on and said Devils and Canes for Helly. Deal apparently done. Well, how does he not know which team it is then? Let's all reconvene in 3 hours. No choking says screw analytics. We want to see all the raw prospect videos. Good night, JP. Man, this is really going to... It's going to be interesting. All right, guys, but appreciate all of you. Follow me on X, Instagram. They're both at a Corona NJD. I'll drop the X in there, and it's the same username for Instagram. I'll just drop them both. What the hell, right? I'll stop being lazy. But we now wait out the news. Are the New Jersey Devils, in fact, in on Hellebuyck? That would be quite the development. But more prospect stuff, more development camp coverage coming tomorrow. All the free agency stuff. And the summer rolls on, kids. The summer rolls on. The summer of Sunny. I don't think I don't control that. I think it just automatically times out. It just goes away after a certain period of time, I think. I don't control that. What I can do, if you guys really want that, bear with me 1 second. I can do something else. I can't be bothered with this right now. I'm not really a Discord kind of person. But I know Amagi wants to... I got to talk to Amagi. I told him if I went down that path that he could, kind of run it, because that's not native to me. I'm old. And for all you people chirping me, screw you guys. You have no idea how much technological stuff goes into this whole thing right now. Way more than I would like to admit, and way more than you ever would imagine, honestly. Yeah, no, there's no camera in my room. I'm done. That's it, guys. I'm faded. This has been the longest day in quite some time. Back tomorrow with all kinds of stuff. Follow me on everything. Back tomorrow. We'll see what tomorrow brings, but a solid day of business for Sunny Mehta and the New Jersey Devils. And we'll see what this team looks like before camp. We will see. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends. Good night.